I wasn't live the whole time. Jeez. All right. Good morning, everyone. 1 minute here. Leon is from American Vulkan Lockring, and he's going to do our presentation. So, Leon, let's just start off before you get into your full presentation. Just kind of hang on. So, let me get you on stage here. What's up, brother?
Hi, how you doing? Good morning. Happy
Uh,
Friday to you.
man. Oh, yeah. It's a Friday to remember. Murphy's Law is like punch me in the face.
It's all right. It's how you take them. That's the point.
Yeah.
How you take.
Uh, So before you get your full presentation, and I got some things I want to present to the technicians too. Just give us a little intro on who you are, your background, how'd you come to find the awesome company that is American Vulcan Lockering. I know you guys you can't say that the Vulcan and Lockering in the same sentence now because the market, the I guess the branding.
Yeah,
Well, they
yeah.
want Vulcan to stand out because I think Lockering is getting so huge. They're like, no, we're Vulcan, not just Lockering. But anyway, give us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your brother.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I started out my career in the HVAC side of things 32 years ago, and I had a career shift in my life, and wound up here at Vulcan just a couple of months ago. So although I'm new to this company, my feet have been pretty wet within the industry as a whole. So come from a pretty good background in that regard. So, but still learning this product and really enjoying it here, and really having a great time being a part of the Vulcan family.
Excellent, excellent. So how long did you do HVAC?
I did HVAC for 32 years. I was an independent rep agent here in the state of Florida.
Man, you look too young, brother, to be.
Yeah. No, looks are deceiving.
I know it's funny when I enjoy playing golf, and you like to dress nice, and
Of
people be like,
course.
oh man, this guy must be good. I'm like, hey, golf is one of those sports where you can dress better than you can play.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So this is a great pivot for you to join a team over at Vulcan, having an HVAC background. Um, and I know one of the questions you guys are probably going to get, and usually do get, is, "Oh, could I use lockering connectors on HVAC?" And
You
I know it's probably something you're going to cover, but go ahead.
Yeah, you can. Yes. So,
Okay.
there are a couple of industries that we cover. One of them is going to be refrigeration, which is what we're going to go over today. That uses the 00 rings. The other industry is automotive, and that's the 50 series. And we have also the OEM side, which is single ring. So, yeah, the company covers a couple of different industries. But yeah, HVAC is definitely one of them.
So if you are tuning into this broadcast, American Vulcan Lockering is your brazeless uh, sealed system connector. So if you're doing sealed systems, which you should be, right? I know we all kind of start off doing, washer dryers, ovens, microwaves. And then, when I hear about people who don't want to do sealed systems, it's usually, uh, their back isn't what it used to be, or the time it takes. I tell you, when I walked into servicers shops, I see like a leaderboard, and it's funny. It'll be one person with 50 repairs and X amount of dollars produced, and then another person will have half that, like 20 repairs, and have 10 times the revenue, and it's the seal system guy or girl, right? And it's something good to get into. I actually personally went to HVAC school just to learn sealed systems and to fine tune my appliance repair. Because good nice thing about HVAC, number one, it gets all the attention, right, over appliance repair. But HVAC is a great way to segue into appliance repair because you learn a little bit about everything: plumbing, electrical, refrigerant, brazing, lacquering, everything is in one package. So it's kind of a cheat code. But nowadays you got so much out there, different schools, including Appliance Fix Academy, to handle your uh, educational needs. So Speaking of that, uh, why refrigeration, right? Why sealed systems? Well, this is the cost of refrigerators, right? So that kind of coincides with how much a consumer is willing to pay to have it repaired, and or if you're a warranty technician, if how much the warranty company is willing uh, to pay on a repair too, which will be much less, but it's volume. So this is stuff I pulled offline. You got like LG refrigerators. I'm looking at both screens. LG refrigerators, I think it's $1,600, $1,700. The nice one with the smart view. So, you know, uh, $3,500. Yeah, you paying more, so you don't have to worry about opening the door of your refrigerator. You just hit a button, look through the looking. It turns it into a window, which is pretty cool though. Yeah, LG is they got a lot of tech going on. So you got LG. I got Sub Zero on here, so I showed some Sub Zero fridges. Sub Zero is about 8 grand, 9 grand. It kind of ranges though, but that's the higher end refrigerator. So you think somebody gonna have a problem with a $2,000, $2,500 seal system repair bill when they pay 8 grand for a fridge? Probably not, right? Uh, we have some high sense refrigeration down there. High sense refrigerators, cheap as $700, goes up to $2,000. So it looks like for like residential refrigeration, you're looking around 2 grand, $1,500 on the lower end for a nice refrigerator. For the freezer tops, those things start off at what 500 bucks. No, that's old pricing in my head. Probably like at least about $800-900 for the old ones, but I don't think nobody really buys those unless you got a smaller apartment. Um, so that kind of gives you an idea on the the uh, how much you can charge on your refrigerator. So did a little light research, Angie.com, previously Angelus, and this is their data, not mine. On the low end, a refrigeration repair is 200 bucks. I'm trying to think what would be $200. Uh, okay, you know what? I would charge $200 if the uh, the freezer drain from is clogged. Or maybe it's a piece of plastic or something in there, and it's clogged with that, and that's got to remove it, and it's ready to go. Maybe steam it out a little bit, but that could be maybe that'll be a lower end repair, very rare. It says the average is 650 and the highest 1300, which is that's probably more now. I mean, at this point, this is from 2025, but at this point, I think with tariffs and stuff going on, a lot of this data has to be bumped. And so, if you're a consumer out there and you're paying for a refrigeration repair, and it might be a little bit more than what the internet says, it's because this stuff is prior to any inflation data, most likely, because it takes a while to accumulate this. It takes years to accumulate data like this. Um, so it's a gift and a curse. Your house is worth more now because of it, but you got to pay more for everything else. So, but let's get an idea on. So obviously, the higher end of the repair will be sealed systems repairs. Uh, so my slides are not in order. This is supposed to be the next slide. So if how much does it cost to do hardwood floor repairs? Why are we even talking about this in a sealed system presentation? Well, you got to move that refrigerator out to get to the compressor, right? And refrigerators do have wheels, but you're going to scratch a floor or two because little Timmy's Hot Wheel is going to be jammed up underneath the refrigerator. And when you pull that refrigerator out, you're going to hear a shit. You can have some resistance, like what is that? Or your tech, right? You can't, if you have techs, you can't control everybody's actions. And when that floor gets scratched, according to Home Advisor, the normal range for a floor repair is $500 to $1,800. I'm a rounder up guy, uh, which we, which basically will hopefully it's a sealed system repair that you end up having to do. and that will be a wash for you. But if you're just like cleaning, doing a cleaning job, or it's that will be that's a lot of money. Well, there's a way you can prevent damage to customers' floors, right? Nothing's 100%, but there is a way to prevent it, and that's with let's go. So we can go back. Oh, I did. Let me pause that. That's what Air Sled. Now, Air Sled has a new product. So we all know about Air Sled. You have the pump on your hip, and you slide it under heavy equipment. It lifts it up, turns it into a hoverboard, a hovercraft, and moves the refrigerator out, or oven, or anything that's heavy, right? Well, now this product, if you notice in the photo, it's missing the actual vacuum. Well, that's because now this is called the hover blades. The hover blades allow you to use your own shop vac, which means cost is going down for the price of this product, because you're using your shop vac, which you have in your truck or your van anyway. Let's just go through a quick presentation of Air Sled. And you notice that the space he's moving out of is super tight. So without that, you're rolling that thing out, you're pulling it out, and then you're turning it, and you had no idea what's underneath. Or good news, that's not wood floor, so that helps. But I mean, if somebody said you scratched your tile, I mean, what are you gonna do? Uh, and so this product saves that. Look how easy it is to maneuver out of tight spaces. It gives you a very professional look when you're in a home. It also prevents them from complaining about their floors getting scratched. And some of the times you're like, well, it looked like it was scratched already, or the floors look like crap already. Who cares? But the hover blades will help prevent that. You can buy this product at appliancefixacademy.com or your local distributors. Most distributors do carry the Air Slayer product, but I do have it on sale at appliancefixacademy.com. So now we've got the cost of refrigerators. We went over the price you can charge to do a seal system work. How do you get work, right? Well, if you need help getting work, go to appliancefixacademy.com, uh, and scroll down, and you'll see a repair work or job placement form you can fill out. So if you are looking for work, or you're looking for work, right? Double meaning. If you're looking for more repair work, fill out that form, and we'll get you hooked up. If you're looking for job placement, right? Again, I'm not an employer, but I can refer you out to my network of repair companies that will love to hire you. Uh, One of the best things to do is work for a company, because you're working as a team. I know a lot of technicians are lone wolves. The way to go is working for a company. You've got support with uh, the CSRs. You've got people planning your routes. You got parts sent to you. Everything is done for you. You just go out and fix stuff, and then go home. That's a position the owner of most companies used to be in, and probably wish they were back at. Because the headache of running a business, man, you got to be everything. But when you work for a company, you've got a team to back you up. So if you're a lone wolf and you're tired of being a lone wolf, and you're looking to work for a team, fill out that form, and I'll get you hooked up. And no matter where you're at, I've got a network all over the country. So uh, now here's a few things. Now I'm sure now Leon's going to go over this with his presentation, but so there's a couple things I did. Some basic tools you're going to need, right? Because a lot of people say, "Oh man, this steel system stuff is expensive." They say that about the Lokring stuff, and they say that about brazing, right? People used to complain, "Oh, you got to buy the gas, you got to buy it." Yeah, you got. It's a big ticket item. It's a big charge. Uh, and so it's going to be more. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost more for equipment. It's obviously it's not a drill or a screwdriver, right? With like all you need for any other appliance. Mechanics go through this too, right? When you start doing engine work, you got to get heavy duty tools, And so some of the tools, basic tools that you need, and Leon can correct me if I'm wrong uh, when you're up, but you're going to need your joint connectors, your lock ring connectors, your lock prep. I can't wait to get into that. I think one of the biggest miseducations on a lot of, I could figure out how to do this lock ring stuff on my own, is lock prep, how much to apply, and the fact that there's a shelf life for it. So I'm not going to bury Leon's lead on that, but um, this is the things that's going to come up in this presentation. Now you've got, Lockrings gave you two tools, right? Before you had the manual tools, the hedge trimmers. You had the manual tool, but now you have the mini press, which is awesome. Zzz, that thing is. If you guys attended my last event, I did a demo where one a tech was using the hand tool and I used the mini press. And by the time he finished putting the connector on the jaws and got ready to crimp it, I was already done with that mini press. So mini press is awesome. This is available at your local distributors. You can't get these things directly through Vulcan. You need to go through distributors to get these things. And also your jaws. I do believe the cause you get the master kit, which gives you all this stuff in the one. Um, so these things are available through your distributors. Also, so this is a screenshot of the web page, appliancefixacademy.com. Here you can access Vulcan Lockring's knowledge base. So all the things that that's going to go through in this presentation, the knowledge base will have some more additional tools for you. This will give you the ability to look at a parts list for all their tools and all their connectors, some training, anything you need answered is right there. So go to appliancefixacademy.com and scroll down to access Vulcan knowledge base. And that's on here twice. Oh, it didn't save my other. Okay, so it didn't save my other fonts. Hang on. I had one more thing I want to show y'all, and it was funny, and it's not here. It's killing me, man. Comedy is hard. All right. Yeah, so I'll get that queued up here. If there's any questions, please leave it in the comment section. Oh yeah, this is the other thing I wanted to show, and I'm gonna show it here. So, oh wait, before I show that, that's the Vulcan schedule. Un momento. That is the Vulcan schedule. All right, so here's the thing. So this is a live virtual training on uh, using Lockring connectors. Few things I wanted to disclose. Right, this is no substitute for everything else that you're going to need. Right, uh, the virtual training is great. Gives you some information, especially if you're not available to go to Winter Haven, Florida, and attend Vulcan's class. Uh, this presentation gives you some education. It gets the information out there, allows you to practice and try until you do get some in-person hands-on. We do offer, actually next week, I have a 4-day SEAL systems class. If you go to appliancefixacademy.com, you can sign up for that. It goes over brazing and lockering. So it gives you both in case you have to braze. But from most people that end up using lockering, they usually don't go back. It's so much easier. But we're gonna teach you both. We're gonna give you both. But obviously this is available, or you can just take the 2-day class directly in Winter Haven, Florida for Lockring. So I'm gonna release the schedule for that. But what I want to say is, if you are handed medical books, right? If somebody hands you a library of medical books, does that make you a doctor? Doesn't make you a doctor. No, it does not, right? The same thing with this online presentation. Uh, it doesn't make you prolific in using the Lokring product, but it does give you some information. But you also want to take the online course, right? Like you're doing now. You also want to do a ride along with a technician that does seal systems, and then also you want to go to Winter Haven, Florida, and attend in person in the lab with no other OEM allows you to do this unless you're like authorized servicer or whatever. Like no, this is for everybody. Vulcan is the only manufacturer that allows you to come to their headquarters and get trained directly from them without being, it's like manufacturers got these, just their own technicians that they do most of their, they invest most of their training into. Well, Vulcan says, hey, the whole industry are technicians, and so you can go to Winter Haven, Florida. This is the schedule. This schedule is on the Vulcan website, and this is where you can attend in-person classes. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or email. I'm going to have to show you guys my screen here. um, introductions are due. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, appliance repair community, let me introduce you to Leon with American Vulcan Lock Ring Connectors. How are you, sir?
I'm well, Reggie. How are you?
Good, man. I'm flying the plane and building at the same time here.
That's all right. That's all right. It's Friday. That's all that matters. We get through Friday. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's it, man. That's it. So, um, man, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for
Anybody
having us.
that, yeah, anyone that just now, the broadcast, uh, Leon comes from the HVAC world, which is a perfect match for such a great company that is Vulcan. Give us a little preview or a little snippet on what we're going to learn today from you.
Yeah, today, really, we're gonna embrace the entire lock ring product. We're gonna go from soup to nuts. We're gonna talk about the importance of sizing, making sure that you're using your calipers correctly, making the correct selections for your couplings, making sure that you have a great understanding of not only using the HMRKV hand tool, but also the lock press mini if you decide to go that route. And just lock prep, making sure that you know the dosage charts, and that when you're done, you can walk away with a confident connection, and we'll never have to walk back to it again. Our goal today is to really kind of embrace the entire from soup to nuts, what it takes to make a lock ring connection.
Excellent, excellent. And
Yeah.
Leon, let me just do a quick little. Let me show you something. You remember Fire Marshal Bill? Let me show you something. So, uh, for more information, right, they can go to appliancefixacademy.com. This is the training calendar, and these are the events that we have coming up. It's updated daily. Next week, no, week after next is our 4-day seal system class, Atlanta, Georgia, in person. Go there to sign up. Uh, Also, stay connected with our Facebook group, Appliance Repair Community Network. We're over 1,000 members strong right now and growing. And there you can ask questions or just sit back and enjoy any information that's shared on the group. Uh, and also, don't forget to go to Appliance Fix Academy page on Facebook and follow. And this is how you can keep up with all the different trainings we have going on. In addition to that, one last plug. No, two more plugs. My YouTube channel, Appliance Fix Academy, on YouTube. We're there. So here I do a lot of my broadcasting. This broadcast will not be available to the public as a paid for broadcast. But there's a lot of free stuff here. Most of the stuff I do is at no charge. Uh, and then go to Eventbrite. So to find out to keep updated on in-person training, virtual trainings. You can also go to Eventbrite. That's the platform I use for my training. So you can also do a follow there, and they'll give you an update on anything else that's going on. So anyway, Leon, I think, talked enough. I think they're tired of
Yeah.
hearing from me, man. They want to learn something now.
All right.
So I'm gonna hand it over to you, brother.
All right. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. Yeah.
All right.
So once again, Reggie, thank you for having us here today. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk about Lokring and spread the good word about what we're doing here in Winter Haven, Florida. So all right. So I want to make sure everyone has our contact information. My name is Leon Essex. That is my cell phone, and this is my email. Sean Allen is going to be assisting us today. He's going to be doing a lot of the live demo that we're going to flip over to here in the near future here. And we were trying to decide who was going to do the presentation, who was going to do the live demo. And, Sean is an ex-hand model for DeWalt. So, he pulled the card for being the hand model today. But so anyway, that's all our contact information. We take a lot of pride in being available to our customers in the field. When you're at a job site, you're at a customer's house, you run into a snag, you're not really 100% sure on how you want to approach a particular fix or repair. By all means, use these phone numbers, use these emails. Our department is 3 people. It is myself, Sean, and Jeremy Hedges. And if you call or email us, you're going to get one of 3 of us. Okay. So we're here to help, and we want to make sure that you are supported in the field. So please feel free to write down and use those phone numbers as you see fit. All right. All right, we're going to get into the advantages of Lokring connection. We are going to be talking about the 00 series today. We do make a couple of other products to keep in mind. We do make a 50 series, which is automotive. We make a single ring, which is for the OEM refrigeration industry. But today we're specifically going to be talking about the 00 series. To what Reggie was saying earlier is true. We don't feel like brazing is something that you shouldn't put down. Continue to practice your art of brazing. Continue to keep your torches and keep your skill set up. There are going to be situations within your career that you're going to have to pull those torches out, and that's okay. We're not saying we're the only answer, but we're pretty good resolved to being able to use Lokring over a torch application. So some of those advantages, when we talk about time, that's a huge thing in this industry, right? Time is money. By using Lokring, we feel like there's a 40 to 60% time savings. We estimate about a 28-minute evaporator swap, compressor swap, and filter dryer swap. And that's pretty darn good. So you get down into utilizing this tool, you get your skill set good with this tool, and you can really cut down a lot of your service time, and which makes more money for everybody, right? We feel that Lokring is a much simpler product. It's definitely cleaner compared to brazing. It's a more reliable product. When the process is followed and it's followed correctly, you will have a hermetically sealed connection that's never going to leak. There's no nitrogen necessary unless you're going to be doing some pressure testing. Other than that, there's no nitrogen, and you certainly don't need to lug around a lot of heavy equipment. The tool itself you're going to see is all handheld. Everything can be put in your pocket as far as lock prep, as far as connectors. So really, you can walk into a situation with just one tool. There is no fire protection needed. When you're brazing inside somebody's house, you need to protect the floor. You need to protect the appliance. You need to protect yourself. You need to, make sure that you're doing your due diligence when you're have an open flame, which makes Lokring much safer. You also don't need to repair outside of the customer's home when using Lokring. There are plenty of customers that don't want you opening a torch in their house. That makes things a whole lot easier for you. You don't have to drag the equipment out. You don't have to hurt yourself dragging the equipment out. You can do everything right there in the house. In some parts of the country, there's a fire permit that is required in order for you to do any brazing in somebody's apartment, high rise, of that kind of a residence. They require you not only to get a permit, but you have to hire a fire captain to be on site while you're making your repair. That's not everywhere, but there are some parts of the country that require that. That's an added cost to you and the customer. And with Lokring, you don't need to worry about any of that, which makes things more cost effective overall for you and for your customer. And we are OEM approved. So all of your warranty work, we are approved for all that warranty work. So you will get paid, which is a great advantage too, right? All right. Lokring can be used with all standard refrigerants. You can see the list there. Primarily in the refrigeration world, we're working with R600a, but we are approved for everything else, 410A, R32. There are exceptions. The two exceptions are ammonia and CO2 above 50 bar. Other than that, everything else is good to go with our connectors. All right, we're going to get into the functional principle of the lock ring. This is going to go over the actual product itself and how it works. In the upper right corner, you can see we can have our center body with the center ring, and we have two outer rings, and that makes up our connection. Lock prep is included in there because it's an incredibly important part of making this connection. So by looking at that picture, what's great about that picture is it kind of shows how the lock ring is gripping the tubing, right? The initial thought when I saw lock ring was that it happens at the middle where the center ring is. But the fact is that once those two pieces of tubing are pushed to the center ring and that lock ring is closed, really all of the action, all of the actual compression is happening on the back ends of that connection. Uh, that tubing wants to naturally flex back. So that's where we're actually getting our connection made, is towards the rear of both sides of those rings. So this is a great picture. Kind of shows what's happening on the inside of your connection. You can see the tubes are pressed all the way against that center ring. Lock prep is being applied. Once the ring is closed, you can tell that it's a pretty nice little connection there. Okay, selection process. This is very important because obviously if you don't have the proper sizing and the proper material, you're certainly not going to get a secure and leak-free connection. Um, the process of selecting your connector is crucial to your success. So obviously we want to make sure that you're very very educated on this on the next couple of slides here. Our lock rings come in sizes 1.6 to 10.5 millimeter, and we use millimeter only for the sizing of our connectors. And you're going to find them in brass or aluminum, and steel too, for the capillary side. This is a typical connection chart. This is a great chart. If you want to take a picture of this or a snapshot, please do. This is your typical connections dealing with copper tubing, aluminum tubing, steel tubing. Something I want to point out is you can see the brass connector is always connected to a copper or steel. The brass connector is never connected to aluminum. Now, why is that? Well, you have galvanic corrosion that happens when you have brass to aluminum. All right, you need a couple of things to make that happen. You need a wet environment, you need current, and you need dissimilar metals. Okay, so you still see that in this connection chart, right? You still see brass on steel, right? But the galvanic corrosion is a whole lot slower with those two dissimilar metals. One thing you will notice is that all the aluminum tubing is connected with aluminum connectors. Now, the reason for that is the aluminum tubing to a I'm sorry, a brass connection to an aluminum tube is definitely a higher rate of corrosion. If you use a brass connector on an aluminum tube, you are definitely going to get some leaks within a few months. That galvanic corrosion is very, very quick. Now, with that being said, there was a time where we were thinking about changing all of our connectors to aluminum. We actually made them a little bit beefier. We made them thicker uh, for that reason. And I'm going to switch over to our live feed so you can see the difference. You can see how much bigger it is, how much thicker it is, and that is a great snapshot of the difference between our brass connector and our aluminum connectors. I hope that really gives you guys a good idea. All right, so if you're in a pinch, could you use an aluminum connector on a copper tube? You absolutely can. Is there some corrosion action going on? Yes, but the rate of it is so slow that that connection is going to outlive. It's going to outlive the appliance. Okay. Now, if you want to reassure yourself that that connection is going to be okay, you could use a topical. Um, whether it be acrylic or spray can, a rattle can, or a brush on. You can definitely do that if you want to make sure of it. But, at the end of the day, really the rule of thumb is no brass on aluminum. You can use aluminum on copper. And if you have any questions about that in the field and you're not quite sure, by all means, please give us a call. And you're welcome to take a snapshot of that graphic, which you'll have at the end of the presentation, by the way, because we're going to give you a QR code with all this information. All right. I hope that really covers that because that's an important one, guys. All right. When selecting our couplings, our nomenclature is actually pretty simple. If you look at the left there, you'll see an L13592. If you called us and you said, "Hey, I need an L13592," I mean, we might pretend that we know what you're talking about, but at the end of the day, we're hustling to find out what part number that actually is. So the easiest way, really, to tell what you have is by the part number here, which is pretty easy. Your tube size is the first digit. NK stands for normal coupling or coupling. It's a German company, so we call it coupling. MS is the material, which is brass, and then 00 is the connector type. If by any reason you have a 50 on there, that is definitely the wrong connector for refrigeration. Just keep that in mind. Always want to do the 00, okay? So when we get to aluminum, it's the same thing. 8mm, normal coupling, aluminum, 00 connector type. Pretty simple. Thank goodness. Because nothing we want more is to confuse us with long model numbers. All right, when we get to reducers, it's very, very similar. The larger tube size is 8mm / 2mm. So that's an 8mm reducing to a 2mm. We have a normal reducer, NR. MS is brass, and then 00 for the connector ring. All right. Same with aluminum. 8 / 2, normal reducer, AL 00. Pretty self-explanatory. All right. All right. That is the nomenclature of our connectors. Now we're going to get into our calipers. Essential tool for using our couplings without the proper measurements. You will be making grave mistakes in the field. We have to get good with our calipers. I suggest practicing using your calipers. It's a very, very important tool in your toolbox for making sure that you've got the right connector picked. And we're talking about millimeters here, right? So I mean, could you look at a tube and guess that it's a 5 or a 5.5? No, you just can't. So really, the calipers are extremely important. So we always use a set of calipers, and we always use millimeters. There are some buttons on there for toggling between inches and what have you. But, in this industry, we don't use that. We always use 2 measurements, and the reason for that is for ovality. Excuse me, ovality. the tubing is manipulated as being pulled and pushed and as it's being installed. Maybe there was a repair before you that it was bent, and by just taking one reading, you run the risk of just being a few millimeters off. And when that happens, if you're not taking into account for the ovality of the tube, you could be making a poor selection of coupling. Okay. Normally the buttons are always the same on these. You got the on and off button. You have a zero out button, which we're going to show you how to use. Thumb wheels, which will give you some nice touch to the jaws to be able to close, and your locking knob, which you're going to be using your locking knob for sure. So that's a pretty typical set of calipers right there. The way that they're made is we have an ID set of jaws at the top, and in what we do here, we do not use those. And then we have the OD set of jaws at the bottom, the bigger jaws. And those are what we're going to be primarily using for our selection. There are a couple of points of this set of jaws that we need to talk about. All of our capillary tubes are done at the front, or the teeth, what I call the teeth. The reason for that is because capillary tubes, they can be bent. They've got a lot of variables to them. Within a half an inch of a cap tube, there's a lot of variables going on there. There's a lot of bending and what have you. And if you measure that in the middle part, the thicker, wider part, you're not going to get a true reading. So we want a very, very narrow reading on that capillary tube. So we suggest all capillary tubes being measured at the front teeth. The rest of your tubing, 3.5 millimeter and up, all measure within the middle with the wider throat there. There is a non-calibrated area towards the head of the tool. Do not measure in there. If you measure in there, you're definitely going to have a misread. So by all means, make sure, and I have done it myself. So yeah, when you reach in there inside the cabinet, sometimes it's dark, sometimes you're, bending your wrist over things in order to get that measurement. Just make sure you're not using that non-calibrated area. That will create problems for you. They are sensitive. We're talking about millimeters here. So if you have debris, tape, dried lock prep, you have anything that's on those jaws, it's going to give you a misread. Okay, so before we ever make a connection, before we ever make a selection, excuse me, make sure they're good and clean. Go ahead and close them. Make sure you're reading zero. If not, you hit that zero out button, and you're ready to go. Your calipers are ready to use. What I think we're going to do, we're going to flip over to the live, and we're going to let Jeremy show us how he measures. So he's got his calipers out. He's going to go ahead and make sure that the jaws are closed. He's going to turn it on. And he's going to, I know it's a little hard to see because of the glare, but that's okay. You guys are getting, there you go. That's good. And he's zeroed out. He's going to go ahead and push the zero anyway. I always do anyway, just out of good practice. He's going to go ahead and open his jaws. He's going to make sure that the wide part of the jaw is on the tube. He's going to lock it down. Now, why do we use that lockdown? And that's reading 8 millimeter. So his selection for a coupling is going to be 8 millimeter coupling. So why do we use that lock feature? The reason is because, in this perfect world, Sean's got a, compressor on a table, and, he's basically just kneeling down, and it's not a big deal. It's like rock and roll right there, ready to go. Well, that's not reality, is it? Normally you're going to be on the floor. You're going to be on your side, reaching in with a bunch of piping and tubing and everything else under the sun. So really the best technique, let me go back to our slides. The best technique is to basically make sure that the jaws are firmly wrapped around the tube, and then lock it down, and then gently pull it out, and you're going to have a true reading. If you try to pull those jaws out without that being locked down, you might move 0.2, 0.3 millimeters, and that could, again, make all the difference in the world. And here's what I'm saying about that. Look at our tolerances. Our tolerances are plus or minus 0.2 millimeter. So just by rocking the jaw of that caliper to the left or the right on trying to get it out, you could make that 7.93 turn into 8.1, 8.2. And then with your plus or minus 0.2 millimeter, you're almost at an 8.5 at that point. So keep that in mind. We want to use that locking nut at the top of the calipers. So all of our connectors, they come in 0.5 millimeter increments. So if you look at the caliper, it says 7.93. If you're plus or minus 2, a good rule of thumb is to just go ahead and subtract and add. So 7.93. If you're plus 0.2, you're at 8.1. If you're minus 0.2, you're at 7.7. So what would your connector be? It would be an 8 millimeter connector. So that's a really good practice, really good rule of thumb to use, is just go ahead and plus and minus that 0.2 millimeter, and you're going to get right in the wheelhouse of what connector you need to select. All right, with everything in this world, we were talking a little bit earlier about Murphy's Law, right? Well, there are some exceptions. Like everything in life, there are some exceptions. The 5 and the 6 millimeter connector. These are two very important connections. And again, I would suggest that you guys take a screenshot of this. When you get the QR code at the end, just kind of make a note, whatever you got to do to really dial this in, because the 5 and the 6 millimeter is definitely an exception for us. So if you look at the size range, it's actually a 0.5 millimeter range. So your 5 millimeter is running 4.7 to 5.2, and your 6 millimeter is running 5.9 to 6.4. So if you're measuring some tube and you're at 4.7, you're good to go. You're picking a 5 millimeter. But if you don't know this exception, what are you going to pick? Well, 4.7 plus or minus 2, that's 4.5. That's a 4.5, right? So it's not going to fit. So this is a great slide for you to remember when selecting couplings. Make sure that when you start hitting that 5 and that 6 millimeter tubing, that you're remembering that it's a 0.5 size range. All right. Capillaries. You can see in the picture, he's measuring that capillary with the teeth of that caliper. Very, very important, right? So our capillary tubes, 1.6, 1.8, 2.0, 2.2, 2.5, 3.0, and 3.2 millimeter. Those are all fairly standard capillary tube sizes in the industry. The good news is 1.8 to 2 millimeter is primarily what is used in the United States. So our tolerance, if you look at that tolerance, plus or minus 0.1 millimeter, man, that is absolutely small, right? So there's not a lot of wiggle room. So we do what's called a fit doesn't fit check when it comes to capillary connections. Okay, so if you're measuring a tube that's 1.9, you're plus or minus 0.1 millimeter, you're going to be able to go to 2, you're going to be able to go to 1.8, right? That's where the fit doesn't fit check. So what we do is we go ahead and we pull a 1.8 connector, we pull a 2.0 connector. We take that capillary tube, and if it fits in the 1.8, that's the one you use. If it doesn't fit, try the 2.0, and it should fit, right? So that will be the one you use. So that's the fit, don't fit check when it comes to capillary tubes. Okay, it's pretty small measurements there. So use your calipers well, and you should be good to go. All right, lock prep. Very, very important part of the process. Without lock prep, there is no connection. Okay, there is no substitute. There is no getting around it. If you make a connection without lock prep, you will have a leak. This is a crucial part of the program. So by all means, please pay attention to this, because this is vital. Lock prep is an anaerobic sealant. That means that In the absence of oxygen and in the presence of metal ions, it will activate. Okay, so its purpose is simply to fill those microscopic voids and cavities. You can see the picture in the upper right. It's got kind of channels, lines, right? It looks like somebody had sanded linearly to the tubing. Not a good idea. And we're going to get into the application and show you the proper way to clean that tubing. Um, but essentially, this purpose is for it to create that hermetically sealed joint, and without it, it will not work. Okay. There is a dosing for all connections. The one that we want to really pay attention to is the capillary tubes. Our 0.5 to 1 drop is critical. All of your small tubes, to be quite frank, all the way up to 3.5, we really, really suggest you following the dosing chart. The reason being is if you just overload that capillary tube with lock prep and you put pressure under, it's probably going to get plugged. We're just talking about really, really tiny, um, tiny holes as far as the caps are concerned. So, but when you start getting up to that 6 millimeter and plus, at that point, I would tell you to liberally use the lock prep. The number one cause of leaks is no lock prep. You want to know what the number two cause of leaks is? Too little, not enough. Okay. So you start getting into those bigger sizes, you start getting that 5-6 millimeter, go ahead and load it up. You're going to be okay. They come in 15 milliliter bottles, gives you, a little over 550 drops. And 65G is what we use for the 00 application. Now, remember, we talked about the 50 series, we talked about single ring, we talked about automotive 50 series, and today we're talking about 00. So keep in mind, if for some reason you have any other kind of lock prep in there, HT, LT, if it doesn't say 65G, don't use it. There is a cure time for lock prep. Once you make your application of lock prep, you have about 20 seconds to go ahead and get that connection made. That sounds like a long time. It is not a long time at all. If you're not prepared to make your connection and you apply that lock prep and you go, oh, I forgot my tool. Oh, I didn't bring this. I got to go back out to the truck. You might as well take that coupling off, wipe it down, clean it up, and start over again. So you got 20 seconds to make that connection. You have a minimum setup time of 10 minutes. Okay, so once you make that connection, you're good to go for 10 minutes, but do not manipulate that tubing. Do not apply pressure. Do not apply a leak test. Don't do anything to that connection for 10 minutes. Okay, do something else. You might have 2 or 3 other connections to be made. So go ahead and start those connections, right? Get everything prepared. By then, that connection is ready to go, but you got to make 2 or 3 more. When you're done with your last connection, start the timer again. You got 10 more minutes. Okay. That cure time does increase. Now, here in Florida, we don't have to worry too much about, cold temperatures, but, when you start getting up into the North, Midwest, you start talking about some really, really cold temperatures. The cure time does extend the colder that the ambient is. Now, let's talk about that a minute. You're getting in your truck first thing in the morning and it's 38 degrees outside. That lock prep's 38 degrees, right? So what you should do is take that, you got to make a connection that day. Go ahead and take that lock prep, put it in your shirt pocket, put it in your jacket pocket, get it a little bit warmer than it would be if it was 38 degrees. Nothing wants to be 38 degrees in this world, right? So neither does lock prep. So get it a little bit warmed up. Not have to be hot, just get it a little bit warmed up above ambient. And you're going into a house, right? The house isn't going to be 38 degrees. The home is going to be, whatever, 70, 75 degrees. So, keep that in mind when you're thinking about the setup times of this product. Front pocket, shirt pocket, wherever it gets, some warmth. So now, if you're going to be doing an outdoor connection, I mean, there are plenty of barns with, keggers and beer fridges and what have you. That is definitely going to be a situation where you're setup time is definitely going to be longer. Okay, so keep that in mind um, when you're making your application. Store everything in an original container. Those bottles are designed to breathe. They are um, they are designed to breathe. So at the end of the day, like I said, it's an anaerobic sealant. It only activates in the lack of oxygen. So don't put it in a different container. Make sure that it's in the original container, and you're going to have a good product. We also looking at temperatures, high temperatures. We call it burnout. Uh, you know. 302 degrees on a tube. If you've got a connection and you're going to be brazing, if you don't protect that connection and it gets above 302 degrees, you're going to have a problem. You're going to think you got a great, you brazed, you got a great connection. You walk out of the house within a couple of days, that homeowner is going to be calling you, telling you that their refrigerator isn't working. So keep that in mind. That lock prep will burn out anything above 302 degrees. Okay. All right. Lock prep does fluoresce. In this industry, obviously, we have leak detection, sniffers, UVs, all that good stuff. You put a UV dryer in, UV dye dryer, and you see that on the right with the green and the yellowish green. Lock prep does fluoresce. So just because it's on there does not mean you have a leak. It is designed to be applied liberally, right? And once you make that connection, some of it is going to come out. So at the end of the day, just be aware that if you or a boss or somebody else starts UVing the system and seeing that blue, you're okay. It's not a problem. As far as UV dyes are concerned, we run R600a systems usually operate about 30 or 40 psi. UV dryers, they take about 70 psi or more in order to push their dye out. So just keep that in mind when you're doing leak checks. You're seeing that blue, your blue's okay. Lock prep does have a shelf life. Unfortunately, it has a shelf life, but it does have a shelf life. So please read the bottle. Sometimes this stuff sits in a truck for a while. Maybe you got somebody else's truck. Maybe you got somebody else's tools. You don't know how old that lock prep is. And I'll tell you, if you look at the date down there, 2018, if you tried to use that lock prep today, it would not work. Okay. So it's got a 12-month um, shelf life. Keep that in mind. And so this bottle, is it usable? No, it's not. Um, let's say that date was 2025. Let's say it was February 2025. Is that bottle still usable? No, it's not. It's not 65G. It's LT. So nice little trick. Just keep you guys on your toes, right? All right. So keep that in mind. Shelf life of that product is 12 months. Uh, Nitrite rubber gloves are what we suggest when handling and using this product. Nothing absorbent. Keep it in the container, like we discussed. And keep in mind it is not suitable for potable water. We did have a customer a little while back. They were going to set up a feeder for their chickens, and that did not turn out very well. He was not aware that this was not suitable for potable water. So you can use it in that regard as long as you're not drinking it or anybody else is drinking it. Keep that in mind. All right. But protect yourself, right? Get nitrite gloves, make sure you're using them. And if not, that's fine. Wash your hands afterwards. You're going to be good to go. All right, the hand assembly tool. This is the HMRKV.
Hey,
All right.
Leon. Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. Uh, I want to add a couple of questions and
Yes,
somewhere
sir.
in some of the chats.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I can't see all that, by the way, just so you know, I can't see the chats because I got my live screen here. But yeah,
don't worry, brother. I
absolutely.
got your back.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
uh, so with the lock prep,
Yes, sir.
um, you said okay. If it's at a certain freezing temperature, it doesn't fare very well. It's not good for it. Um, how does that um so after it's applied and it's on a
Mm,
refrigerator, and let's say it's on a line that probably exceeds those temperatures, uh, how does that work? Or is it
mm.
because now it's on there is dry? I'll let you answer.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And you know what? You just reminded me of something. I did not really. I said that the time is extended, right? I didn't really say how much time. So yeah, the graph. If you can still see my screen, the graph shows that when you start getting below, what 60, 50 degrees, it goes up to 30, 40 minutes, right? So yes, once that cure time is over, you're good to go. That refrigerator, I mean, it's, you might be on the high side or the low side, you're going to have swinging temperatures. So yeah, at that
Okay.
point you're good to go. Yes, yes. But during that amount of setup time, that crucial setup time, it is important that, you know I mean, it can be 40 degrees. Just
Right.
realize that your setup time is going to be 35 to 45 minutes. Um,
So
but
so
that's why we say just put it in your shirt pocket and just get it a little bit warmer than ambient temperature for when you got in the truck in the morning. It'll help you out, and it'll make your trip to your customer a little bit shorter. You don't have to wait 45 minutes where you might have to wait 10 or 15.
right.
Yeah.
So if you so like okay, so above 77 is no bueno too, right?
Above 77.
It's Fahrenheit. Well, so
Yeah,
what I'm,
yeah, 77 Fahrenheit. So, we're talking 100 and, yeah, that's up there in the 300 range. So,
oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah, that's Fahrenheit. Yeah, yeah. So,
'Cause I know sometimes cars get pretty hot, but I don't think that hot. But
I don't think that hot either. Yeah, I mean, really, honestly, it's the 300-degree mark. Really, is where it starts to fail,
right.
and that really is only being achieved by a torch. If you've got a 300-degree line and an operating refrigerator, something else is going on there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got something else happening.
Yeah. Because so the wheels that's turned in my head is I'm
Yeah,
thinking in the position of a lot of our customers that are appliance service company owners, and if they send a tech out in the field and they have a lock ring failure, it seems like there's a lot of boxes. There's not a lot, but there's boxes. And the same thing with even with brazing, but there's boxes you need to check.
yes. Yeah,
Um,
so this is a lot to consume what we're doing right now, but when we have some videos that are going to show the actual connection,
right.
and we're going to have a live demo too. So when you yes, we're talking about a lot of things, and there's a lot of information that's being absorbed. But when you
No.
see when you
Well,
see the actual connection, it's really not. It's really once you have your processes there, it's really
right.
really super quick.
No.
Yeah,
So no, what I mean is
yeah,
just because seal system repair is a big job, requires a lot of work, and it's one of the things you don't want to have to go back and redo. And I'm
yeah.
just thinking mentally on your truck, you probably should have a checklist. Especially if I was running a company, I would make my techs fill this out and say, "Hey, did you check the date on your lock prep? Um, probably keep it in. Everybody has some sort of tool bag they take in the house with them,
Good
or they
point. Yeah.
something that I wouldn't. It's probably something you probably don't want to keep in a truck, even though your truck may not exceed those temperatures or anything like that. But I would still like to,
Sure, it could
the
be good practice, right? To keep it in your
yes,
locker, keep it in your where your lunch bag is at the shop. Yeah, very
yeah,
well could be good
it's good
practice.
practice
Yeah.
because I can see the temptation of having expired lot prep. You're on a job, you know.
It happens. It
Yeah,
happens. We do hear about it. Oh man, that thing's 3 years old and I'm still using it, and we're like biting our lip, going, well, you probably shouldn't use it.
right.
That's not a good idea. Not good
So
practice.
so
Yeah.
now that the entrepreneur in me is thinking like, man, maybe I should start a lock prep subscription.
You know what? That's actually not a bad idea, Reggie. Now that you mention that, that's a pretty cool idea. Do a
Yeah,
subscription. Yeah.
so
Every,
you gotta
when you
think
buy
about it.
lock prep, you have a year, you can pre-buy for the year and we just send it out to you. That's not a bad idea at all.
Because yeah, because you're running an appliance repair company, and you got so many irons in the coal, and it's one less thing to worry about. Put that up
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
with refrigerator, water filters, all that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So
I
or
think you're on the right track, so
yeah,
I think, the more that you the more that you expose yourself to Lockring, the more that you utilize the tool and the process in your daily, in your weekly, work week. Uh, I think those things will come more naturally. If you only make 4 or 5 connections a year, then it might be in the back of your mind, not so much in the forefront. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, you're 100% correct. Yeah, yeah, it might not be a bad idea to have good practice to have your checklist. Like I'm definitely making a sealed system repair today. I'm using Vulkan lock ring. So what do I need tomorrow? Well, I need to make
Right.
sure I got my connection kit. I got to make sure my HMRK is good. Do I have the right jaws? Is my lock prep good to go? Do I have my abrasive pad? And that checklist should happen.
Right.
That's because, again, you don't want to get, who knows, maybe you drove an hour and 20 minutes to get to this customer's home and you don't have the right tool. Are you going to make that connection? That's a poor decision. You don't want to
Right.
make a bad decision. So by doing all that prep work prior, you're making your life a whole lot easier, and you're building confidence in your customer. That homeowner may never call you again if you got to come back out again the next day and they're another one more day without a refrigerator. So you're not doing them any service either.
Right.
So yeah, yeah,
Okay. Excellent. And another question we had was the amount of lock prep that is attached. Uh, what happens? Now, I understand what happens if you put too little. What happens if you put too much?
yeah. So on the smaller tubing, you definitely want to make sure that your dosage is correct. And let me go back to that dosage chart. Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure that you do not overload the small tubes. So anything 3.5 or less millimeter. Let's go a little bit higher now. Let's go 5 millimeter or less. Anything 5 millimeter or less, you want to make sure your dosage is pretty spot on. So you got your half to 1 drop for caps. So that's from 1.8 all the way up to, what was it, 2.2, I think it was, or
Right.
I think maybe, yeah. And then everything above that, 1 to 1.5 drops. And but after that, you start hitting that 6 millimeter, go ahead and load it up. But yeah, you can overdose the small tubing. You can overdose, and when you put pressure on that system, if there's a big wad of it at the end, it's going to be drawn right into that tube, and you possibly get a plug. So
Oh, wow.
you definitely have to apply it appropriately when it comes to those smaller tubes, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And if you put too much in, I guess that runs the risk of uh, so it's a let me know if I'm wrong, but once if it combines with the refrigerant, I assume it probably hardens and then it can create a restriction like in the filter
Yeah.
or if you put way too much, I guess you can block the whole tube up, huh?
You could, yeah, you can block the whole tube for sure. We're hoping the filter dryer would pick that up so it doesn't get any further down the line. But
Right.
you could definitely plug the tube. Absolutely, yeah. There's been instances where the cap tube was plugged for sure. So just way too much. But yeah, but you're good. Anything bigger than 5 millimeter, you're pretty good to apply liberally.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Any other questions? Feel free to put them in the comment section, and we will
yeah. Break in
ask them
anytime.
on there.
Yeah,
Yep.
break in anytime. We're going to get to
Wow.
the meat of the here. We're getting into the HMRKVs. So this is the tool, right? So
And just stand by for that Appliance Fix Academy lock prep subscription package.
it's a good idea. I'm not telling you, I'm not going to steal it though. I'm going to give you credit, but that's a great idea.
All right, I'll see you.
All right, the MHRKV. This is the hand tool, and when I first started with Vulcan, I looked at this tool, and my inner Neanderthal came out. I was like, oh yeah, man, 2 red handles, grip it and rip it. I just thought, man, this is going to be awesome. This is an awesome tool. The reality is that this tool demands patience. It demands you to learn it. And it seems like it's pretty simple. Just grip those red handles and rock and roll. And that's really, unfortunately, that is not the case. I use the golf analogy. Okay. Uh, you know, you just can't grab a golf bag and, go on a course and within 3 holes, you're smoking, 380-yard rippers down the center of the fairway. It just doesn't work that way. This tool is very, very similar. Now, with that being said, we do have the lock press mini, right? So for all of the processes that we're going to go through in this presentation, we're going to show you the alternate, which is the lock press mini. Now, why don't we just show the lock press mini? Well, the reality is there's nothing wrong with the tool, and there are some people that are very, very comfortable with the HMRKV. So it would be a disservice for us not to train on this tool. And when we do in-person training, we gladly make sure that we're showing people the right techniques on how to operate this tool to make a good connection. And then obviously we pull out the lock press mini and say, and here's your second option. And it's really, really good to make sure that you guys are trained on both. Okay. That's the reason why. Because when you see the lock press mini, you're going to be like, well, why do we ever talk about the HMRK? But that's the reason why, because we really do feel like both really need to be still involved in this process. Okay. Okay. So that's a really good picture. And we're going to do a live demo of it too. This is a good picture of what the HMRKV looks like. The jaw sizes, we can assemble sizes 1.6 up to 10.5 millimeter with the assembly. The MB8 jaw is about 98, 99% of what you're going to be using. On a rare occasion, you might need the MB10 for a 9.53, or a 10 millimeter tube. Okay. But 99% of the time, you're going to be using that MB8 jaw. The jaws do not come with the tool, they're separate, and they're easily installed. Actually, let's go live, Sean, and we're going to show you a little bit. There we go. We are live there on the camera. He's going to show you the HMRK. He's going to show you kind of what the tool looks like live, right? So you can see at the top, at the head of the tool, you can see the jaws, right? And there are two pins, which are kind of like a quick connect. And that lets you remove the jaw, right? And by the way, those do fit in both this tool and the lock press mini. So if you were to have that, it is interchangeable. So when you see him put that pin back in, he put it in opposite from the other one. The reason is because if you have those pins on the same side and you set that tool down, they will pop out. And then what happens is you have a bad set of jaws and your connection is going to be wonky and you're possibly going to have an issue. So really, really simple to change those jaws out if need be. You get the idea what that looks like live. So that's pretty good shot. I told you he was a hand model in his past life, right? Okay. All right.
Hey, I got another question about that.
Yes, sir.
By the way, yeah, bravo to your hand model. You should you should have like a bottle of like lotion or something right next to him as a promo.
Vulkan hand lotion.
Sponsored by
That's
Vulkan.
fun.
So for the mechanism, you said they have to be opposite sides. Is there a foolproof way? Like like when you put in the connections on the board, you can't really put the wrong connections on the wrong spot on the board because they're all unique. Does this work like that, or is there a way that somebody not paying attention put them on the same direction? I know you said it falls out. I'm trying to understand how that works.
Yeah, so no, it won't fall out. So if
Oh,
if both of the quick release pins are let's say going in the same way, like not opposite of each other, when you put the tool down, by putting it down on the counter or wherever, it
right.
might pop those out. So
Okay.
by having them opposite of each other, when you set the tool down, you don't run the risk of that being popped out. And just the jaws get loose at that point. If they're
Right.
popped out, the jaws are loose, and when you're trying to make a connection, you may not see, and then it's just gonna go wonky in there, and you're just gonna you might even break the connection. So
Got it. Okay.
yeah. You want us to show you again? We can go live again and show you again.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah,
that's a big
absolutely.
again.
So
Use We want to eliminate as many user errors as possible,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
yeah, this is one of those mental checklist things too
So you
that
can
makes
so
sure
you
you're using it right.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so you can see both of the pins are in on the same side. So
Right.
when you put the tool down, see how they popped up?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and Sean and put one on the one side and one on the other side. And
Does it still work the same, or does it feel different?
no, it still works, but if it's popped out like that,
Yeah,
if the
it's
jaws are
critical.
popped out, yeah, if the pins are popped out from the jaws might not close all the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead. Yeah. So go ahead and take one of those pins out and put it how it should be. There you go. So now he's got one pin on one side and then one pin on the other side. And that way you don't ever run the risk of having them both pop out if you set the tool down. Does that make sense?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. All
All
right.
right. Yeah, looks good, man. And
Yeah.
just another PSA. If you're just tuning in, that's not a bottle of lotion for the hand model. That is lock prep.
That's lock prep. And, and we're going to get into we're going to do some live of that too. We're going to do some live connections, so everyone's
Yeah,
going to definitely see it in action. That's for sure. And we got videos too. We got lots of videos, so yeah, it's
awesome.
going to be good.
All
All
right.
right,
Thank
so
you.
this is we got to get back here. Hit this button. All right, this is kind of what everything looks like. You can see we got the removable jaws, the pins. There's a fixed handle release and there's a ratchet release. So when we talk about gripping it and ripping it, like everyone just wants to grab those handles and rock on it, right? Um, the reality is it's kind of a one-sided tool. The fixed handle release basically gets the head to tilt, and the ratchet release is what actually closes the jaws. So I'm going to go back to live, and Sean is going to oh, give me a second. How's that? Oh, am I back there again? There we go. All right. So Sean's going to show you that the one side is the ratchet release. Try to go down a little bit more, Sean. Right. So that gets you angled into the cabinet. And the other side is what actually closes the jaws. So remember, we talked about golf, right? This tool requires some work. All right. So I hope that makes sense. All right. All right. I'm going to go back to regular screen. All right, and we're going to see it in action here, actually. So it is a right-handed and left-handed. All that changes is that the release levers are either facing you or not facing you. So we're going to show, that's what we call a preload and the claw grip, the claw technique. And we're going to go over what that means too. And then we've got the left-handed operation, excuse me. Preloading it, claw technique. Preloading it, claw technique. So, yes, it has two red handles, but really you're operating one handle. And we're going to, and for the most part, but we're going to definitely get through this. I don't want to try to confuse the thing here, but we're going to get through it. We're going to get through an actual connection here. All right, the assembly process. So we talked a little bit about cleaning the tube. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we are circular motion around the tube. Reggie, what I like about this picture more than anything is that this guy's ready to go, right? He went through his checklist. He's got his hand tool. He's got his lock prep. He already made his measurements. He's got his connector ready to go, and he's got his Scotch Brite pad. So he's ready. He doesn't have to go to the shop. He doesn't need to go out to his truck. He's ready to rock. And I really like this picture for that reason. Now this is actual video, but so step number one in the assembly process, we're going to clean that tube. We're going to use that Scotch Brite, and we're going to make circular motions around the end of that tube. There he goes. He's going to go ahead and clean. Obviously, we're pretending that these tubes are connected to a refrigerator. All right, that's step one. Step two is we're going to apply lock prep. Now, I want you to pay attention to him pulling the tube out of the connector and then dropping his lock prep on the tube. The reason why that's important is because if you remember earlier in the presentation, the tubes have to be pushed to the center ring. We want to make sure lock prep is on the ends of those tubes. And the only way to do that, because right now that's a dry fit. That's what I would call a dry fit. It's just a cup, it's just a coupling with two tubes in it, and it's got no lock prep. So in order to get that lock prep to the center ring, you've got to pull the tube out. So he's going to take this lock prep, he's going to actually pull that tube out so that when he pushes it back in, that lock prep goes to the center ring. You can see that capillary action. See how it almost disappeared? And that's very good. I mean, we want to see that happen. So when he applies that lock prep, boom, it gets sucked right into that tube, and then he spins the tube, which spreads it everywhere it needs to be. Again, you got your dosing guide, cap tubes 0.5 to 1, and then 3.5 to 5 millimeter, or using 1 to 1.5, and then 2 to 2.5, and 3 to 3.5 for all the larger size. This is a great shot of inserting the tube. You can see that both tubes need to be pushed to the center ring. If you don't have those two tubes pushed, you run the risk of actually blowing out that connection. It's important that those tubes are pushed to the center ring. And you can see lock prep is applied. When he spins that connector, all that lock prep gets pushed all over the sides of that tubing. You can see it's all liberally applied, and that's a perfect connection there. So once you are ready to close that connection, you're going to go ahead and use what we call the claw technique, and we're going to show that. This picture doesn't show that very well, but we're going to show that. But what he's basically got, he's got his hand holding the connector, pushing the tube to the center ring, and then once he makes that closure, there's your connection. And then how long do we wait? Remember, 10 minutes before we put any vacuum, before we manipulate the tube. Don't bend it. Don't do anything to it. 10 minutes. Once that happens, it's a hermetically sealed connection. It'll never come apart. All right, we've got a video that's going to show, it's a little short at the end, but it's going to show the entire connection. So what he's doing right there is he's preloading. He's basically using the handles to open the jaws. That's what we call preloading. And then when he reaches up with his other hand, that's what we call the claw technique. And he's going to show you here in just a second. We're going to do live one of these also. And the video is a little off there, but okay. So he's ready to go. He's got everything. He's going to go ahead and clean his tube. We do suggest not touching the clean part of the tube once you do that. Oil on the skin, not necessarily bad for anything, but it certainly doesn't belong there. So he's going to pull his tube out a little bit. Watch that lock prep just get sucked right in there. He's going to spin it. Now he's going to preload. He's using his right hand. He's using his left hand for the claw technique. You can see his finger. And there it goes. It's a little short, and we're going to do a live one too. And we can do 2 or 3 if need be. Now, this is actual video of inside of a actual refrigerator. So he's preloading. He's using his left hand to make sure the tubing is all the way to the center stop. His right hand is actuating the jaws to close. And once he gets a couple of pumps in, he's ready to flip it because he's made his connection. He's flipping it, and now he's going to finish with a longer stroke. There you go. He's definitely got it. There you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right. Now for the lock press mini. He's going to use his hand to make sure that's center tubes, and it's done. So remember, we talked a little bit about taking all of the work out of using lock press mini. It just absolutely removes all of that tedious work. But we still want you to be familiar with it and definitely be part of your toolkit if need be. Batteries go dead. Sometimes you drop your tool. You need to make a connection. It's good to have the HMRKV in the toolbox just in case. All right, let's go back to Sean on the live feed. And I think we need to go ahead and make a connection or two just to show you guys how it's done live. All right. And I want to spend a little bit of time on the claw technique. I want to make sure everyone understands, what that means. So
Yeah, and Leon, so I
yes,
I I was at your lab at Winter Haven and took the 2-day course that you guys have,
yes, sir.
and that definitely is something that I would recommend technicians practice.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Because one thing you're not seeing here is you're not seeing you having to be on the floor, uh,
Yep,
sh-
yep,
sneezing from all the dust
yep.
and trying to get all the roaches away from you while
Their
you're doing.
pet, their pet coming up and licking the back of your neck.
Yeah, all these
Yeah,
obstacles. You gotta line that up.
100%. Yeah,
So
100%.
definitely practice makes perfect. Again, just like golf, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you need to put time in with this tool. And like I said earlier, the minute you look at this thing, you see the two red handle. All you want to do is just grip it. You just want to grab it and you want to, use it like a hedge clipper. And that's
Yeah,
literally not how it's used. It is a single-handed tool until you get about 70% of the way on your connection. Then you can use both hands.
yeah.
So yeah, so let's do a connection, and we're going to go real slow on this. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to clean his tubing. Well, he's going to make his measurement first. Yeah, that's a good. He's got zeroed out. He's locking his jaws, making sure he's got a great read. He's got 8 millimeter tube, so he knows he's got an 8 millimeter connection to make. He's got his lock prep ready. He's going to scour pad. He's going to go ahead and get that nice and bright. Circular motions. And what I call a dry fit. He's going to go ahead and put that connector on, clean the other side. And I do the dry fit because I think it's important to feel the tubing hitting the center ring. I feel like it's really important to feel that, like literally feel it, to make sure that you're not short. So he's going to go ahead and apply his lock prep, a couple of drops. He's going to spin that bad boy. Let's get it nice and coated. Now he's preloaded his tool, right? He's got that handle cropped up against the other side of the handle. That's preloaded. He's got the head in his hands, what we call the claw technique. He releases, and then he ratchets. And then once he gets about there, he can use both hands now. He's free to use both hands. Now he's not, but well, he could. He may not because it's not connected to anything, and sometimes it slips out. So that's why we kind of go all the way. But that's a perfect connection.
I love his technique. Again, for any golfers out there, keep that left arm straight. Then the right one, the ratchet.
Yes, yes. So what I didn't mention, I need to mention is, we talk about that fixed side and then the ratchet side. The fixed side is always opposite of your stationary item. So whether it's a coil or a compressor, that fixed side, which is next to his forearm, that is always opposite of the fixed item. Okay, so that's how you determine what hand to use or what side to use. Yep, he's on the right side. You can see he's got the claw motion, and the fixed side is opposite of the compressor. Again, practice, practice, practice. So he's gonna go ahead and use the lock press mini, and we're going to show you kind of the difference between the two. He's going to do the same. He's going to do dry fit. He's going to go ahead and apply. He's going to make sure his tubing is all the way to the center ring. He's got 20 seconds or so, no rush, easy
15,
peasy.
15.
He's going to feather the jaws a little bit, and that's it.
Oh, that's
Connection's
cheating.
done.
Oh,
Yeah, it is cheating. I know. He's
oh.
Tiger Woods. He's Tiger Woods on the golf course. He's cheating against us hackers.
That lock press mini is magic.
It is. Yeah, it
And
really is.
Leon, so you know, May 24th is my birthday. Address. Lock press mini, please.
I'm making a note. May 24th.
May 24th.
Yeah, I mean that's a great example to see. Like, yeah, it takes everything out of it. It takes all of just all of the variables, and you just literally push a trigger. So it's a beautiful tool. It's a
Nice.
wonderful tool. We do want to continue to push, the HMRK, just because of the fact that sometimes tools break. And as Neanderthals, we love our tools, don't we? So
Yeah,
the more
and here's what I'm thinking, Leon. As a appliance repair dealer, uh, I would want to start off like the master kit. If you're doing like if you're doing warranty repair for like LG, right? Then you
yes,
need an LG kit. There's no need for the extra connectors, maybe.
right,
But if you're doing warranty for different manufacturers, or you've seen a lot with CODs coming up, the master kit will give you everything. And I can see even the manual tool starting off with that, if it's cash flow reasons, start
sure,
off
of
with
course, yeah,
that, and then as you get more jobs, as you get more R600, you start to see, and as that revenue comes in, then upgrade to that mini press for the fact that it saves time
absolutely,
and
yeah.
probably lowers error with getting the connector on straight.
It does. It eliminates a lot of human error, and the other cool thing about that lock press mini is the battery is basically a DeWalt 12 volt. So any 12 volt DeWalt platform that you have in your truck already works in that lock press mini. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that's a cool
That's
thing. Yeah.
always a concern too. 'Cause I remember buying drills, and then if the battery sucks, the battery's the whole cost.
Yes.
When it comes to drills, anyway.
Right.
And
Right.
the fact that I'm sure that battery's awesome because it's connected to Vulkan.
Yeah.
But if you end up losing it, or you need a second battery, boom, you use your DeWalt. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, and we wanted to make sure that that was easily accessible to our customer base. At the end of the day, we don't want to have to order batteries from Germany when there's a 12 volt option right at your local box store. So you run into a jam, you got a dead battery, broke it. You can always run down the local hardware store and get a 12 volt DeWalt, and it'll work in the product. So yeah, really really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's get to some other tools. We got some other cool tools we can talk about too. All to help you guys in the field, right? So capillaries, we're going to do a capillary demo here too. Um, capillaries, cutting capillaries, using a pair of side cutters and stuff, you run the risk of damaging the orifice of the tube, get burrs involved. You don't want to get those. It could make a bad connection. It could break loose and fly into the system. So, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but really using capillary cutters the right way is really, really important, especially when you're dealing with multiple connections throughout your day. So, I don't think we have another slide for this. So you can see the picture here. How we approach, and Sean's going to do a demo, but how we like to approach is we like the tool to be perpendicular to the tube. We close the jaw, and then we tilt all the way to the side, and then we make our snip. And let's go back to Sean. And he's got a piece of tube there, and it might be small. We're going to try to do this so you all can see it. So we don't want to snip it this way, just straight perpendicular to the tube. All right. It's hard to see. There you go. You got it right there. Yep. You do run the risk of collapsing that tube, of creating a burr. All right. So what we want to do is we want to go perpendicular and then tilt and then snip. And what that creates is almost like a hypodermic needle. It creates a nice clean cut. It's flush. There's no burr whatsoever. And to be quite honest, on the next slide, we're going to start getting into the capillary tube connections. That hypodermic type of profile actually helps us insert that tubing into our connector. So let's go back to there we go. All right. So whoop, a little bit too much. There we go. All right. So for capillary tubes, this is an interesting picture. So this essentially, you've made your selection, right? You've made your caliper, you take your calipers, you made your measurements, you've selected your connector. And what we want to do is we want to place that. You've done the fit, don't fit. If you need to, you're ready to go. All right. So where does that tube go inside that connector? Because we're dealing with center rings on the bigger tubing, right? There's no center ring for this. So what we do is we insert that cap tube to about 1 to 2 millimeter past the other end of the connector. Now, imagine another tube being into that larger end of the connector, right? You can't see where you're at. So when you're applying lot prep, you don't know if you're short or long. So what we do is, you see the picture below, we bend that cap tube to make a stop, make a positive stop. That way, when we're applying our lock prep, we can pull that tube out, put our drop, half drop to a drop, and then put it back to that bend. And you can go ahead and spin it and you're ready to go. Copper. Aluminum, you can't do this with aluminum. Aluminum cap tubes are brittle. They are fragile. And if you try to make a bend in an aluminum cap tube, you're more than likely going to snap it. So the same process, we go ahead and put our cap tube, put our cap tube inside our connector, make sure it's 1 to 2 millimeters out the other end. And then we take a magic marker and we mark the end of it. I'm going to go back to live for Sean. So you can kind of see how it sticks out the end, and he's got a nice bend there. So he knows exactly where to stop when he pulls it out. Yeah, that's a good shot. Yeah. Got a nice bend right there. Perfect. You can't do that with aluminum. We've got to be very careful with aluminum. So that's why we use a magic marker for the aluminum cap tubes. Got to be very, very, very careful. Okay. All right. Every time I come back, I got to hit this button here. All right. So we apply lock prep to the larger tube first. Then we go ahead and we pull our connector out, apply our half to one drop, and then put our connector back to that bend, and then we rotate. And that's pretty much the easiest way to deal with the cap tube. So yep, there you go. You can see the claw technique. This is a great shot of the claw technique. So he's got his one finger on the actual connector to stabilize it. He's got, one finger pushing the tubes together or holding everything in place. So that's a great picture of the claw technique. All right, that's pretty much the cap tubes. Pretty simple. And we're talking about tools. Let's talk about another great tool. This is the pre-assembly tool. So this is designed to basically get your part, your compressor or your coil, kind of pre-done. Okay. We don't want this done a day or two in advance. You don't want to take a compressor and open the system and then do a pre-assembly process 2 days before, because it's open to the ambient air, right? So at the end of the day, this is something that you can do in prep outside of the house and your truck as you're going in. You don't want to be, if you could, let me say it this way, if you can get some of your connections started before you're on the floor, this tool will help you with that. Okay, so comes in a couple of different millimeters: 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.53, and we only have these in brass, but it's such a great tool. So what you want to do is, you've done your measurement, you know what connector you need. You're going to insert the pre-assembly tool into the other end. You can see that top picture. He's got it in the other end. He's going to go ahead and apply his HMRK, -V, and he's going to close that connection. You see that bottom picture? He's going to close that connection until you're about 2 to 3 millimeters away from the center ring. You cannot go any further than that. Remember, this is a pre-assembly. You're not assembling. So 2 to 3 millimeters before that center ring, back off your jaws, and you can take that pre-assembly tool out. You can take that compressor, take it down into the refrigerator, and you can go ahead and finish your connections without having to do all that on the floor. So it just really gives you a little bit of a head start. And I'm going to show you a video of that too. So obviously this compressor is in the unit, but this gives you a good idea of how it's used. So he's going to go ahead and using his calipers, making sure he's got the right assembly tool. He's got an 8 millimeter tube. He's got an 8 millimeter assembly tube. He's going to go ahead and prep his connection, do a little cleaning. cleaning his other side now. Get it nice and bright. Now he's going to dry fit. He's got the pre-assembly tool already installed. He's going to apply his lock prep. He's got it pulled out a little bit. You can see him push it back in. He's going to spin. He's all the way up against that center ring. Now he's going to apply his hand tool. Using the claw method, he's going to slowly pull that together. And when he gets about 2 to 3 millimeters, he's done. He's going to stop. If you go any further, you're going to damage the tool. And you're going to damage that connection. So there's a good shot of it. Almost connected, not quite. He's going to pull that pre-assembly tool out. Now let's imagine he put that compressor in. He's making his last connection. He's going to put that tube in. Now, can he spin that connector? No. But he can rattle it around. And that vibration right there will help that capillary action move all of that lock prep where it needs to be. He's going to get his tool ready. Claw technique, pushing that tube against that center ring, and he's making his final connection. Now he can use both hands now that he's almost closed. There you go. And he's done. So it really gives you a little bit of just a head start, so you don't have to do everything on the floor. And once you use this once or twice, you're going to use it quite a bit. So that's a great tool to have in your toolbox. This is the LSRZ tube cutting pliers. I'll tell you honestly, I didn't think much about tube cutting until I got here at Vulkan. This is a pretty cool tool. And I'll tell you why. Not only can you have good range, you got 4 up to 12 millimeter size pipe tubing, but the profile of the head of this tool is so thin that when you're running out of tube, let's say you get to a job and there's not that much tube left and you got to make a cut. When you use a standard thick headed type of tube cutter, you're losing 1/8, 1/4 of an inch of tubing, maybe even more, depending on what kind of tube cutter you have. Because of this real shallow profile on the head of this tool, you can really save a lot of length of remaining tube. And that's really, really important, as you know, in some applications, right? It uses 120-degree rotation, and we use an overhand method. And we're going to show you a video of that. What I don't like about this video, he's a little fast, if you ask me. I like to be real methodical. When you start dealing with aluminum, it becomes very easy to crush. And when you go real fast, you have less control. But anyway, you get the idea. He's using his left hand to actually guide the head, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to pivot that tool left and right, right? We want to keep it straight with that overhand and not pivoting left and right. You run the risk of breaking those cutting wheels. Now, they are replaceable, but why, why no one wants to replace their tools. So, but in case you do break them, they are replaceable. But that overhand motion is great. Now, in not every application you're going to be able to use the overhand, but just consciously make sure you realize the direction that you're cutting, so that you don't rock back and forth and break those cutting wheels. So that's a great tool to use too. That's the LSRZ tube cutting plier. And then we've got this tool. This is a fantastic tool. This is the nav connection tool. This is great for when you, it can save compressors. You're going to save some compressors with this tool. If you don't have that much stub left to work with, this tool actually adds length to that stub. So what we do first is we make sure that tube is very, very clean. There's usually a heavy epoxy on the compressor housings, and it usually extends, as you can see in this picture. So make sure it's clean. Use a really good abrasive cloth or sandpaper and get it nice and bright. Remove everything up to the housing of the compressor. He's got his calipers out. He's measuring 9.17, so that would be a 9 millimeter. So he's making his selection. So what he'll do is he'll take that tube, and you can see the flare on that tube, right? So what he does is he pushes that tube against the housing of the compressor, and he makes a mark with his marker at the flare. Then he'll take the single ring, and he's going to place that against the compressor, and he's going to make a second mark. All right, so now you got 2 marks on that compressor. He's going to use his tube cutter. He's going to place those cutting wheels right between the 2 marks. He's going to go ahead and use his 120-degree overhand motion. He's going to go ahead and get that tube cut off. So now he's going to place his extension over that stub. He's going to apply his lock prep. And this is 9 millimeters, so you can go to town on this. Make sure it's nice and liberal a dose. You're going to install the single ring, taper side down, and then you're going to apply the assembly, and then the other assembly tool that goes on top of that. We're going to show a video of this one too, by the way. So go ahead and firmly tap onto that to make sure that you seat that single ring all the way to the housing of the compressor. And there you go. You've got several inches of new tube to work with. Pretty cool idea, and it will definitely save you some compressors, which saves you money and saves the homeowner money, the customer money too. So it's a really great, really great tool. Let's see a video of this. I think there's a couple still shots at first, but then it gets into the video side. So measured 9 millimeter. That's the kit. And there he's going to go ahead and measure all the way to the housing, make his mark. Then he'll take that single ring all the way to the housing, make a second mark. He's going to add a little bit of, there we go. He's going to take his cutting tool. He's going to place those cutting wheels right in the middle. He's going to use his left hand to guide the head. It's got nice, methodical and slow. That's the way I like it right there. Now, do you think you can get one of your standard tube cutters that close? Absolutely not. I'm actually, when this video is done, I'm going to show you. So there you got your stub out. He's going to go ahead and place his extension on there. He's going to pull it back. He's going to apply his lock prep. Nice 2 full drops. He's going to spin. It's got that single ring. He's got the beveled side down. He's going to place his assembly tool on first. And then the second one, and he's going to tap it until it seats itself. Nice firm taps. You want to make sure that's seated all the way down to the compressor housing. And there you go. Another compressor saved. Pretty cool video. All right, we're going to go to live. Ooh, did I get it? Yep, there we go. So yeah, look at the difference from the tools. I mean, there's no difference whatsoever. You couldn't possibly make that connection with the smaller red tool. Good tool, great tool for using outside of outside in the truck. You're making cuts and what have you. That's fine. But when you are making those real fine cuts in tight spaces, that is it's a great tool to have in your toolbox. So yeah, that's a great shot, Sean. Thanks. All right, one more tool, and we're going to go back to Sean here in a second too. So We don't give Schrader valves enough attention. Schrader valves are a common cause of leaks. They go bad. The seals go bad. They're under tightened. They're over tightened. They can become problematic. Sometimes you think you got a leak somewhere, and you're not sure where it is. You're checking the coil. You're checking your connections. Always check the Schrader. Always. So this tool is really, really cool. This tool will remove and replace the Schrader valve. But what's great about this tool is that it has like a gear inside the tool so that you will never over tighten your core. So let's go back to Sean. And there he's got a dryer. He's going to go ahead and he's going to take that core out. Standard, just unscrewing it. We always replace our cores. All right, let's pretend he pulled a new one out of the box. Whenever you take one out, you always replace it with a new one. It's going to go ahead and place it back in, and you should hear it click when it's done. And that's it. You'll never over tighten another valve. Thanks, Sean. That was awesome. All right. So we talked about protection of some of these connections. We talked about aluminum on copper. We talked a little bit about galvanic corrosion. And, the picture in the upper right, you can kind of see the shrink tubing. Look, we're dealing with basically butane, acid butane. So at the end of the day, we don't suggest using shrink tubing on any R600a systems. Open flame R600 does not go well. And, if you really need to use protection, we suggest, using, the Rust-Oleum brand or any other kind of similar acrylic coating or a paint on. That might be required for your warranty work, and that's okay. And please do not use heat shrink. So, but yes, epoxy paint would be perfect. All right, cost efficiency. We talked about saving money early in the presentation. Of course, as Reggie mentioned, you have brazing costs, you have rods, you have fuel tanks. You've got to refill those fuel tanks. You need to drive to your distributor to swap them out. All that costs money, plus time. Really, once you're initially set up with your tooling and you've done your initial investment, the cost of your next repair is going to be the cost of the connector, and that's it. So, I can't get any better than that. So, pretty much the cost of the connector. So once you're invested in your tool set, you're ready to go. We have seen some instances where insurance has been reduced for some business owners. When they go torchless and they have no torches in their building or in their trucks, their insurance companies have reduced their insurance, and you have zero flame liability. To give you an idea what happens when you're dealing with open flame and R600, these pictures came to us in early, I think, January of this year. And this gentleman was trying to remove a filter dryer. And, he did his due diligence. We gave the guy a ton of credit. He vacuumed his system down. He did it for a long period of time. He felt like he was in good shape. Didn't think there was anything left in the system at all. Unfortunately, there was some R600 trapped in the dryer, and he was trying to unsweat that dryer. And when that flame hit that, this is what happened. So this happened in a homeowner's home, by the way. So dangerous, not just for him. Dangerous for the homeowner too. So there was a small fire, as you can see. They had to put it out, and that was not a good day. So please be safe out there. We're not telling you not to use your torches. We're not telling you not to continue to braze. We definitely feel like that's a very important part of this industry, and it should always remain. But please be safe, be careful out there. And if you have any questions, please let's get to them. And I want to make sure that the QR code is up for you guys. You're welcome to visit us at racvulcanusa.com. And look, we're on LinkedIn too. We're we're in with the times. So we've got our own LinkedIn page, and we'd love to hear from you guys on our socials. So, and that's it.
All right. So a few things. I'm going to, I'm gonna bring your screen back. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Uh, hang on. Get it together here. That. All right. So you went over procedures, the equipment you need. You guys have a lot of tools that Valve
Yeah,
uh, to walk me through
the torque tool.
the torque tool was great.
Yeah, it really
Um,
is.
so here's the thing: it's like, well, these things are great, but where do I go and find these things, right? So I'm gonna help them out. So right now, so Leon, can someone go to Vulkan uh, and buy these tools directly from you guys?
No, we sell through distribution only, and we have a wide variety of distribution throughout the entire country, west coast to east coast, north to south, and also in Canada. So we do have a full slate of distribution. And uh, Sean, do we have that online also? We have our yep. So that can all be found online and through our knowledge base through the QR code. So
So
yeah,
that's a great segue. So this QR code to get the knowledge base directly. If you're not QR code friendly or just can't copy right now, I'm gonna show you can go right to our. Hang on, let me add my own stuff to the stage. Where should I put yours on this? Here it is. Okay. So if you go to appliancefixacademy.com, you can scroll down and click the knowledge base. Big old sign that says Vulkan. You click here, and this gives you everything: training presentations, talks about lock prep, safety with R600. Uh, yeah, and end of the day, the key to that is don't blow yourself up, right?
yeah. So just so you know, like when we do in person, we have a YouTube video of I don't remember who exactly the organization is, but it's an industry organization that was testing the flammability from a refrigerator standpoint, and they ignited that thing, and I swear that thing blew up. It was insane. So yeah, it's be safe for sure. Yeah, and we show that video just to kind of as a funsy, but the reality is you do have to be very careful, and pumping down the system is important, but there are tricks to making sure you got every single bit of that out. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's
definitely.
gas too. So yeah,
Yeah.
uh, so if you go to the site, hit the training schedule. Uh, so like I said, you guys, and I got this from you guys. This is a Vulcan saying, where yeah, you give somebody a textbook, but that don't mean you're ready, right? If
That's
you
right.
can give somebody a medical guide, but that don't mean you can you're a doctor. You need practice. So definitely, this online course is a great step. Introduce you into the Lokring connectors and the tools. The tools definitely requires practice. Uh, definitely hit home the fact that if you don't practice first, don't go out and train with live ammunition. If you don't practice first, you can get that connector on there crooked, or you may not use a lock prep the proper way. And then guess what? Technicians are never wrong. It's always a product.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and look, I'll be honest with you. When I first came to Vulcan, I didn't think the caliper was going to be that big of a deal. And I remember, using the caliper the first few times, and I was like, man, I really don't know how to use a caliper. And it sounds like it's not that hard, right? But the reality is, if you don't practice even measuring tubing, because we're dealing with point 0.1, point 0.2, point 0.3 millimeter differences, you really could make a wrong connection. So it's like anything, like in carpentry: measure twice, cut once. So I would say it would be the same for here. Make sure that you do your due diligence of measuring. It all starts with the calipers. If you are not good with the caliper, everything else after that could be a mistake.
Right. Yep. And we got up on the screen is the 4-day seal system course we have coming up, May 27th. Uh, the next seal system class will be posted on the website. I'm doing one at a time, so definitely get out to Atlanta, get your hands on the Vulkan tools, the connectors, and practice, practice, practice. So this 4-day class will be brazing, and then the 2 days will be brazing, and then 2 days will be Vulkan Lokring connectors by our certified Vulkan trainers who's been through the training program in Winter Haven. So you're getting good training going through this course. If you can't attend a 4-day, then, or let's say you already know seal systems, right? And you just want to go straight and learn the Vulcan way. Hang on, I thought I had that queued up and I didn't. Hang on. You can go directly to Winter Haven, Florida, and take the 2-day course.
Yeah, we really take a lot of pride in our training, our training program. So we do love doing training here, but we will, depending on the company, depending on the size of the scale of training, we will come to you too. I mean, there are a lot of options for our customers in the field that need this training. We'll work with you. So if you have specific questions about the training, either here or us coming to you, by all means, reach out to us, the emails and socials or whatever, and we will definitely get back to you and do something, if we have to, even custom, to fit your needs. We're very, very proud of our training program. Yeah, it's very important to us.
And Leon,
Yeah.
these connectors, this is new, right? Like this is this new technology, and it still needs to be troubleshooted and tested on the public. With anything else new, is that correct?
Well, 1972 is when they first came out, so they've been around. They've been around a while. I had to think about that because I was born in 1969, so I'm thinking about, well, how old are they? They've been around almost as long as me.
Yeah, I like to speak in the voice of naysayers, so that's me being facetious a little
No,
bit.
it's been around. It's been around a very long time, and there's this product, the single ring product, is being used in millions and millions of refrigerators in manufacturing plants all across the globe, and so this is a very tried and true application. There is no field testing needed. I mean, it's solid.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. So the point is, not new technology.
Mm-mm.
They've been using it in Europe. We're a little late to the party, but again, and I like the what you said about the insurability of it and
Yeah.
not walking into a building with torches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think nothing scares a older person more than seeing a 20 or 30-year-old walk in with gas
Yeah.
and a torch and say, "I'm here to fix your fridge,"
Yeah.
and you're in a high rise. I'm like, either no thanks, or I'm gonna take a ride. And I'm bringing my pets with me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine somebody with 2 or 3 pets running around. If I was a tech, I would have to say, can you keep your pets away? Because,
Yeah.
I'm opening a flame here. So, yeah.
Right. Right.
Not the most friendly introduction to your customers, hey, I'm bringing torches into your house.
Right.
So
Man, Leon, thank you. This is an excellent presentation. We had it scheduled for all day, just in case there's a bunch of questions, but we've got a shy group here. But
it's okay.
definitely, you can contact me, R. Williams, at uh, appliancefixacademy.com. Or you could go out on the website there, scrolling at the bottom. Uh, Leon, how do they get in touch with you?
They can contact us through LinkedIn, through RAC Vulkan USA, through the QR code that's there. Our contact information is readily available in this presentation too. So yeah, they can contact us. They can even just look us up online and call the front desk. They'll send it right to us in Lokring division. So you know,
Excellent.
yeah, we're very accessible.
And I'm glad they you mentioned LinkedIn. I think more services need to be on there,
Yeah,
because that's where the major companies are. And if you're looking to get authorized with a manufacturer, something like that, get a LinkedIn profile, like
hmm
somebody posts, like just one of many ways of getting their attention, right?
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's the Facebook for business.
It's a
Uh,
valuable tool to use, and if you're not
yeah,
using it, you really should start. Yeah, it's a very valuable tool. Yeah.
excellent, 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 brother. Well, I know you
Yeah.
got work to do, and actually, I want to introduce you to somebody. Hang on, Mr. Green, how are you, sir?
Doing all right.
Uh, Leon,
Hello, Mr.
Richard
Green.
Green.
Hey, Leon.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, sir.
uh,
Nice to meet you
so
too.
so Richard does our 4-day Sealed Systems course. He's been down to Florida. And he's taken the 2-day class. Um, you guys came to Atlanta. He took the 2-day class, so he's all in for Lockring. And one thing I love about Richard, he is a mobile training unit. He's got a van with everything you need for seal system work,
That's
seal
awesome.
system training. He's got the master kit in there. Maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. I don't want you to get robbed by some technician because that's high value equipment. Give me your master kit. 6 months.
Oh, and don't let me forget. I do want to talk to you about the master kit. But go ahead.
Okay.
I don't want to break in, but go ahead. I do
No,
want
go
to talk
ahead.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely. I'm a after you guys, me and Rich are going to get into more of the 4-day classes and talk some overall seal system work and refrigeration troubleshooting. Um, go ahead, Leon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I meant to mention this earlier in the presentation. So we talked. You touched on the master kit. So it's not quite developed yet, but what we plan on doing is down in in the near future, we're going to offer that master kit, like you said, with lock prep with a whole bunch of different connections. We're going to offer that with no tool. So essentially, you can pick. Do you want the HMRKV or do you want the lock press mini? And because you mentioned about
Ah,
you mentioned a little bit about sometimes startup money when you're starting fresh, it's a little tight, so somebody might want to get the HMR, uh, get the hand tool as opposed to lock press mini because it's a little bit more economical. But there are a lot of guys out there that want to buy a second and third kit, but they want to move to lock press mini so they can still get the master kit but have the option for the lock press mini instead of the hand tools. So we're working on that now, and there's something to think about later on in the future here when people are going to be placing orders. But we're working on it. But I wanted to mention that because that's a great feature, great option.
okay, excellent. Yeah, that's nice to have your choice.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah, because I think once you use that mini press, it's hard to go back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a game changer. It really does. It changes everything with the application. It really does. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful tool.
Would you say, Richard?
I love that tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Love that little tool.
yeah. We get joked about, like if we step away from a booth at a trade show, we get jokes from people like, hey, don't step away too long because that thing's going to be gone.
Yeah.
They love that tool, man. Whenever they see that tool, they love it. It's a great,
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent, brother. Well, any parting words?
I listen. We appreciate you guys very much. We thank you for giving this opportunity to talk about lock press, talk about the HMRKV, the application. Lock Ring's here to service our customers the best we can. So reach out to us, give us a call. We'll be happy to work with you any way we can. But we do thank you for the opportunity to talk with you today.
Awesome, brother. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining. Jason, thank you for your presentation. Look forward to many more. And you, man, you're with a good team over there. Great company, great people, awesome product. And the thing I love most about the lock ring is that it goes across all the different manufacturers.
Yes.
So if you are an appliance repair technician, this is not an option. This is a must. to learn this and to use Lokring connectors. So,
Yeah.
uh, thank you, bro. Have a
Thank
great
you,
weekend.
Reggie. Thank you. And Mr. Green, nice to meet you. I look forward to seeing that rig of yours, the truck with all this. That sounds awesome.
Just a little van, and I pack it full of crud.
That's great, man. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Mm.
Richard, man, that was a great presentation by Vulkan. Uh, man, they went through it's some takeaways I get from that, and let me know how you feel as a instructor. Um, is I think you should have a checklist, and maybe we should make one up where,
We
especially for people that's new.
we'll
Um,
have to refine some of the ones that we use, but
yeah,
like
because
I
I
use the
guess
true manufacturing tech checklist.
right. Well, because I see so much things that can go wrong.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
if you don't put the jaws in correctly, your lock prep isn't dated properly. And these things shouldn't be deterrents from using it. It's just, I mean, even with brazing, hell, I mean, it's safety checks you need for, for that too. So it's nothing new. But just to make sure, hey, this is, especially because it's a high value, high end repair,
yes,
you want to make sure you're doing it right. And, like Leon said, measure twice, cut once, you
that's
know,
it.
and yeah, definitely we gotta get some sort of checklist put together.
You
So,
definitely don't want to skip the steps.
right.
You
So,
know, used to have students. I used to say we have a 25 to 45% failure rate with them. Well, that's because we weren't doing all the steps. Hey,
right,
you want to do all the steps, then you do all the steps. We're down to like a 99%, you know
yeah,
reliability rate. And he's not joking about measuring. If you measure them right and you put the right one on, great, they hold up wonderful.
right.
Put the wrong one on, hey, it it might fail.
Yeah, and then I jokingly say this all the time though. Like, yeah, and technicians are never wrong.
No,
So
technicians, no.
it's the product,
Technician will get their money every time, and the technician is never wrong.
right. So, so for you service company owners, especially, there's certain there's even some owners out there. Most owners are previous technicians, but there's some who aren't, who are retirees who decided to get in the appliance business or got bought into a franchise. Uh, yeah, watch out for those excuses of, oh no, this lockering stuff doesn't work. There's no way they've built a whole company for a product that doesn't work, but that has no problem working for decades in another part of the country. Uh, so definitely make sure that you follow these steps. Your lock prep is right, using the right amount. Uh, that manual tool that is being connected properly. Richard, when you're doing instruction, what are some of the errors and mistakes you see out there with technicians when they use the tools for the first time?
Most people, when they try to use the tools the first time, they don't have control of the tool, good positive control of the tool, or they try to overcrank it. You know, hey, the first thing we're going to do is this is a crimp tool, so we're going to crank
Muscle
down
it.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to muscle it down. Uh, but that control making here's the number one thing, and this is for every connection. I don't care what manufacturer connection you make. Hey, make sure that the connection is together, touching properly at rest before you go to make it. Make sure there's not a gap in between. It's not under spring pressure or twist pressure. You know, it needs to be sitting there at rest, a good connection. Then all you're doing is finishing the connection.
Right.
And that makes a big difference. Now, learning to handle the tool and the key ring and all that other stuff is, but when you're working on equipment, make sure that those connections are together and touching, or your tube's stuck in farm. Make sure it's sitting there at rest. Makes a huge difference in when you try to, because you're trying to do this in under a time constraint.
Yeah, I love the fact that how when they was in the lab doing a demo, they did a what do you call it, a dry fit, where you just
Every
put
time.
it on and make sure it's hitting the stop in there, the back stop in there. Uh, yeah, so that's again that's that measuring twice uh, mentality, cut once. Um, yeah, that's excellent. So.
Yeah.
Do you see like so when you're training Richard? Do you see a difficult or what are some of the questions or difficulties you see someone making a transition from uh, using their torches and brazing to converting over to using Lokring.
The bad habits from the brazing, they try to carry the same bad habits into the Lokring.
Mm,
Bad habits. You don't clean the connector first.
mm,
On all of them. Again, got to be touching it, got to be sitting there at rest. They've all got to be cleaned.
right.
Cleaned properly. Take the, we're in a hurry or whatever reasons we want to use. Not, not doing the proper steps of prepping and cleaning and prepping. And be honest with you, that's whether you're trying to paint or whether you're trying, do the full prep, do the clean, do what's required. Because if you skip the step, hey, not clean, does it adhere well? Do I have contaminant in there? Do I have, just all the problems? But that's the number one thing is people they want to skip the steps.
Right.
So that's it.
Yeah. So Richard, we've got you not this week, but the next week, holding a 4-day sealed systems class. Uh, and this class is for the novice or the experienced. Um, and you're the perfect instructor for that. One of the feedbacks we get, especially from experienced technicians, is that, man, this guy knows a lot. Like, he's high level. Like, it's like learning how to shoot basketball from Michael Jordan. Like, whoa, this is.
I don't know about that, but I have a wide background in
Yeah.
just maintenance
But
procedures.
I think it's great for someone to know so much, and obviously you can't teach everything you know. I mean, people are going to forget more than you know uh, anything, and you know so much, and it's like you know how to consolidate it down to whatever level that technician is on, and it also gives you great inspiration, thinking like, man, one day I want to be like Richard Green. I don't know as much as he knows about
I don't know
refrigeration.
about, but look, if you're
I
in this
appreciate your
field,
modesty, man.
if you're in this field and you have a passion for it, or if you're in this field and going to do it for a long time, you're never going to get to stop learning,
Right.
ever. You're just, there's always going to be something new or a different way to do things. Hey, one of the greatest things about the Lokring, I've made, probably 50 to 100 connections before I learned how to hold the tool properly, before I set it up. And just learning that little hold the tool. Hey, you have the tool ratcheted open and sitting there, and I can set it down, and I can, and hey, that made a big difference in the connections.
Right.
Just learning little things. Hey, I learned how to clean the cutter before I, how to. I have been cleaning with halfway with things for years. I only clean half and then I have to turn it around. You have to spin it around. Hey, loop it all the way around. Little tips that you learn along the way.
Yeah.
There's always something new. There's always more stuff, but just know that you're always going to have to learn something new.
Yeah. Speaking of habits, man, when he was cleaning that tube, in my mind I was going, he blowing.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
I was like, man, you gotta blow up the dust, man. Like,
It's natural habit, okay?
yeah.
Don't blow it off. But clean the tube before you make the connection, before you
Yeah.
cut.
Because blowing it, you actually may introduce moisture into the tube, right?
Exactly. There you go. You actually get something on it. So
Yeah.
clean the tube. Clean the tube before you cut it.
Right.
The deburring, try to create as little mess as possible while you're deburring it. And pull it out. If you can do it mechanically hanging down to me, you have to just thinking about your processes. And I'm here to try to help people be a better technician, because some of the stuff that I learned, hey, just like everybody else, I was new and I'm, got thrown to the wolves,
Right.
stuck out there to do it. And that means, hey guys, we all make those mistakes.
Yeah. So Richard, this is now if you want to come to Atlanta for the 4-day SEAL system class, happening man, I got my dates all mixed up. On the 27th,
Okay.
4-day class, and make your way here. Right now is at a discount at $12.99, and you can join our class. You learn brazing, you learn Lokring. If you're new, I will recommend too. If you're new to this, really join. This is a class for you because you get both best of both worlds. Uh, and it allows you to again make a higher income with doing seal system work. Some technicians have so much work, so busy, they kind of outsource their seal system work to other people, which you can be one of those people that they get outsourced to, or you can learn how to do it. Maybe cut down on, maybe cherry pick your service calls. If uh, something is a 3 or 4 hour, like a tub, you're doing tub bearings, spider bearings, stuff like that. Hey, maybe you want to do seal system work instead. Definitely pays more, less headache probably. I hate spider bearings, bro. That's
Yeah, I
on
can understand.
yeah. I remember at one. I can't
This
say
counts as
manufacturer.
beating the knuckle to death.
Yeah, and I can't say manufacturer. It was one when you remove that spider bearing. So spider bearing, if you don't know, is it's a like an X uh, that holds the tub, right? And that's what the motor spins either by belt or by centrifugal force with the direct drive motor on it. And that thing breaks, it corrodes. And Richard, we could probably have a whole class on that on preventive maintenance. Because I tell you one thing, I have a front loader. I bet you I have no bearing issues because I use white vinegar. White vinegar eats away of the soap that leaves behind. Uh,
Calcium deposits and then the mineral deposits plus the
yeah,
soaps. Yeah,
and it's real good for your clothes. It helps set the colors and newer clothes when you buy them.
right,
Uh, I've got no mold in my uh, the dispenser drawer
right.
because of that white vinegar. So and I know another guy that I know. He uses pine sol. He said that's not with washing your clothes, but I guess with cleaning out the tubs.
Sure.
Um, I haven't used that method yet, but yeah, even from a look at the science of laundry detergent, a lot of it have animal fats in there, and that stuff will stick to that metal. The enzymes in there, once you're done using that machine, sometimes the enzymes are still in there, and they need something to eat, so they eat away at the metal. So there's a lot of ways of preventing those things and getting rid of them. Uh, Richard, give us a small preview on what's day number one looks like uh, for a technician at the 4-day field system class.
Day one in Ford seal system class. Number one, don't plan on spending a lot of time looking at slides. Okay, I don't. People fall asleep,
Right.
so we're gonna be actually have a piece of gear there. We're gonna excuse me. We're either going to put one together or we're going to take one apart. We're going to talk about what controls the refrigeration and the refrigerant. We're going to work with R134A. If it's the 4-day class, first day, we're going to work with R134A. We're going to go through a system. We're going to see how it operates. We're going to actually put refrigerant in. You are going to put refrigerant in, take refrigerant out. You're going to say, yeah, it's part of that first day. We're going to pressure test. We're going to vacuum down. Part of that first day. Now, we'll either that first day do soldering the afternoon, or then we'll come in and do soldering the next morning. But we're going to show you how the system works first and how to quickly troubleshoot and make sure you got to get into it. Hey, nobody wants to work on a system they don't have to, right?
Right.
So we're going to give you
Awesome.
that troubleshoot.
And what's day two look like?
Day two, we're going to actually work with the 134A. If we did soldering the afternoon before, then we will continue, make sure that everybody gets their hands in place with some soldering joints. Notice I said soldering. Brazing is soldering technically, and refrigeration we're working with high temp soldering. We're not really welding. We're doing high temp soldering. So we're going to finish that up, and then we're going to vacuum down and pressure up a system, weigh in the refrigerant, show you why the difference between a analog set and a digital set, show you the difference between a deep vacuum and just a regular vacuum. Show you why we use dry nitrogen. We're going to use those things. So we're going to do a full set, and we'll wrap up the end of that day. Usually we've got that day wrapped up. We're, of course, going to have our full running system. So
Excellent. Excellent. And day 3?
Day 3, we're going to swap over to the Lokring. So now I'm going to take you into the Lokring. We're going to go use Lokring. We're going to talk about the Lokring equipment, show you how to use the tool. We're going to make some connections. We're going to test those connections. And then every class, we do a repair. We break into a sealed system, a fresh sealed system, or from a fresh point of view. We put on our tap valves, tap it. We're going to replace those tap valves. We're not leaving temporary valves on the system. Usually by day 3, depending on how large the class is and how we go, we might get through almost all the material on day 3. But either way, you've still got to practice it again. Everybody is going to get their hands on the gauges, on the different pieces of gear, look at the different techniques, whether it be a push-on connector or lock ring connector. But we're going to teach you about the fire safety. You're going to physically go through. We're not going to set any fires. Sorry. We're not going to set any real fires those days. We do that on the brazing. We make sure we do it safely. But we're going to vacuum down. You're going to play with the R600 with the refrigerant, with the charging of the system. We're going to look at an amp draw. And what the amp draws show us. We're going to look at how air affects the system. We do that as part of the 134, but we're going to do it again with the 600. But you're going to basically, the goal is to present the processes, have you practice the process, and then we finish up on day 4 we review everything we've covered, slide wise and all the other. And when you leave, I'm going to give you a copy of everything we've presented. Okay. When you leave, you're going to have, in your hand, a thumb drive with a copy of what you presented. I started doing that about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, with my students. That way you have it. You have what we've presented there, the slideshows and all the other good stuff to go with it. But you're going to physically, the last day, you're going to leave a working sealed system. You're going to have done a repair and leave with a working sealed system. Now, that doesn't mean each individual is sitting at an individual station, but everyone is going to physically go through the hands-on on a couple of units. So we're going to go through. Usually go through 4 different systems in each 4-day class. Basically, think of it as doing a compressor change each day.
Excellent. All right, so that's all 4. Yeah, you went to the 4. Yep. So that's great to hear. If you are looking to extend your education, retrain yourself on sealed systems, the Appliance Fix Academy sealed system class is the way to go. You could sign up at www.appliancefixacademy.com. I don't even think you have to say www anymore, Richard. I think you just put, I don't know.
Appliance,
might be showing my age.
ApplianceFixAcademy.com. Yep.
So, yep, and you go there and register, look at a lot of other content. The page, I'm adding content to the page daily, videos, product recommendations, even trainings that we're not having that manufacturers may be having, stuff that's going on anywhere, somewhere else. I don't believe there's competition in training because you should take more than one seal system class. You should take more than one appliance repair class. You should, there's multiple knowledge and experienced people like Richard to learn from. And there's no way, I don't care, you can take the same class a number of times. Every time you take it, you're going to walk out with something new.
Every time.
Yeah, every time. So
my students teach me something new just about every class. I learn something from my students each time too.
So reach out to us, Appliance Fix Academy. Richard, thank you for jumping on. Thank you everyone for attending. this uh, Appliance Fix Academy hosting of R600 Vulkan Lokring connectors by Vulkan Lokring. Uh, with that said, oh, hang, on, hang. On, I meant to put this farewell. There we go. Isn't that cool, Richard?
I like that one. That's cool.
Again, I want to thank American Vulcan Lockring for their resources and for helping doing what they do to train the industry. So, thanks, Richard. Have a great weekend, buddy.
You too.
See ya.
Catch you later.